蛇が巨大化した。
血のりか。トラップでもあると見ておけよ。
Take it and Are you sure? Get the fuck out of my room. I told you I don't want to be here with you.
トラップそんなものじゃないよ。
Konbanwa. Listen, if you see this video, then it's pretty clear what content of mine the algorithm prioritizes. If you're new here, I'm a content creator that basically uploads anything that comes to my mind. My favorite content to create is gaming, and it's usually along the lines of Dragon Ball or Resident Evil. But we're not playing any Resident Evil today, because it's time to do an investigation. Now, my channel isn't meant to bash or stir up any drama. We're simply having a discussion. The topic at hand, the Bop House. You see, nowadays, there has been an increasement in content houses. Some of the more popular ones are AMP, RDC World, and of course, the OG FaZe Clan. However, what sets the Bop House apart from any other house is that it's created by a new generation of a couple of wealthy women in this world. But not only are they wealthy, but they are very young at that. You would think that a content house by women should be empowering and spreading positivity, right? Well, they're spreading something, and it's unfortunately the wrong message.
Hey guys, I am so excited about the release of Bop House, and we have been getting so many influx of DMs and a lot of people asking me to be in. So we are opening applications to take new members for the Bop House. We're gonna do this trend with this dance.
A lifestyle disguised by engagement bait driven social media posts to TikTok dances for the ultimate goal, and that's to make you click the link in the bio for more. Of course, anyone can promote their content. That's how you get noticed, but the issue is where they promote it, on platforms where it's easily recognized by younger audiences, and therefore being exposed to content not intended for them. And you could argue that it's the parents' fault for not monitoring your children, and that argument works to a certain extent. I mean, where was this argument when they collaborated with a 17-year-old YouTuber? TikTok is unlike any other social media platform in previous years. It's been proven to promote certain individuals with a mass following, therefore making all these women unavoidable. I've made a similar video over a year ago about the type of content being created and is being viewed by the youth and younger generations, but it appears to have been unsuccessful because now we have a Bop House. So the best way to address the problem is to cut the head of the snake.
味方をする。蛇が巨大化した。
Is to cut the head of the snake, and that's what we're going to do today. Today, we will be dissecting the Bop House, and the best way to do that is by using forbidden Jutsu.
Get the fuck out of my
If you're like me and rarely use the app known as TikTok, you're probably wondering what exactly is a bop, and thankfully the ladies here will explain that themselves.
Put a finger down if your parents know what you do for a living. Put a finger down if you're a millionaire. Put a finger down if you've met a subscriber from your blue page. Put a finger down if you've been a stripper. Put a finger down if you've been in TikTok beef. And last but not least, put a finger down if you've had any cosmetic surgery. Alright, guess we're all bops.
On December 12, 2024, some of social media's most popular female influencers came together to create what was said by Kyle Philippi of Vice, a modern-day TikTokified Playboy mansion. I'm saying this quote because I can never swallow the name and legacy of Playboy like that. The difference between Playboy and the Bop House is that Playboy bunnies or playmates are legitimate models that are carefully scouted and selected from auditions with a unique theme of high glam hostess culture. Often featured in magazines, and many break their way into mainstream media and launch a dedicated career, like one of my favorite playmates in People, Pamela Anderson. One is built on an ordinary girl next door lifestyle with a corset and heels, and the other is built on ring lights, filters, and an unrealistic lifestyle based upon subscription prices and a follower count. The house consists of Aisha Sophie, Alina Rose, Ava Reyes, Summer Iris, Joy May. Hey everyone, I'm in the middle of editing this, and so apparently Joy May is not part of the Bop House anymore. Due to some recent drama, I guess I gotta change the trajectory of my video, so this is gonna take a bit longer than I thought. But I will get into that drama later on. Julia Filippo, Camila Arroyo, and Sophie Rain. I have to be honest, majority of these women here haven't made as much noise or headlines as the latter two, which is surprising because a lot of them have over 1 million followers. Sophie Rain. If you know who this is, then you have unfortunately been exposed to the dark trenches of the internet. But for the ones who thankfully don't, consider her the pioneer of all the Bop House members. She created an OF around May 2023 at just 18 years old. Now that's a common denominator among these women, straight onto the platform with what seems like no other career paths considered. Sophie is undoubtedly the most popular among the Bop House members and has slowly crept into mainstream media, like with her many collaborations with rapper NLE Choppa. Camila Arroyo. Camila first rose to fame by appearing in a Mr. V Squid Game video a year or two ago. Instead of using her publicity for good, she's constantly in the headlines for the wrong reasons. One of them is because she seems to have the reoccurring scenario of asking her brother about her OF activities. In fact, their relationship has seemed very sketchy and suspicious in every form of media present. One of the main controversial problems with this is that her brother may very well be underage. I'm not too entirely sure because his age has never been confirmed, and she somehow still has a platform despite asking such odd questions.
My career, like, what's the craziest thing that's happened to you so far?
So there's this one kid, I'm not gonna mention names, he is obsessed with you. Every time I'm on the bus, he takes his phone and he goes, "Oh look, it's your sister." At least you're like a normal person. Actually, you can't even do that because you're not even normal.
My goal is not to be normal. So, it's just comfortable.
You already know that.
Okay, whatever. Well, I'm saying my goal is not to be normal and it's comfortable. Don't make it weird and it's not that big of a fucking deal. I don't care what the internet says. Don't make it weird.
だからこそ人を騙すのがうまい。そもそも君は嘘を突き通してし。
Yo, I don't care what the internet says. Don't make it weird. Because the fact that you're thinking about that is weird.
Real defensive, aren't you?
Says you.
Alright.
As stated many times in the past, creators and anyone making content nowadays in this area are getting by with a lack of creativity and effort. At this point, it feels as if being creative optional, and the Bop House girls falls in line perfectly with that statement. Almost every single media that they have produced is always a TikTok video of them dancing with a popular song in the background for likes and clicks. It makes you wonder if popularity these days has anything to do with originality or talent, or if it's just about how well you can flood the timeline and stay in the algorithm's good graces. Because at this point, it's not about the content being good, it's about the content being everywhere. Visibility has replaced value. If you can make the same post across 3 different platforms, speak in the same bait question like who wants to see more and let the algorithm do the heavy lifting for you, then why even put in the effort anymore? The scary part is, it works. It shouldn't, but it does. And instead of rewarding effort, the system just rewards who can flood the feed the fastest. You don't need creativity, you just need volume. The women of the Bop House have surprisingly remained at the top and are getting increasingly popular by the day. This is the part that makes me question whether if a lot of their content is viewed by real people or robots, because they never switch it up. And so far, making millions a month, it seems to be working. It is speculated that these women have given others access to their accounts or is genuinely controlled by a robot or artificial intelligence, because they seem to re-ask the same question with racy photos in an endless loop. But how are these women so popular? Don't get me wrong, very beautiful and attractive women, but do they look any different from the other billion women in this world? How do they consistently maintain an established media status and are among the most popular OF creators? Over the past year or so, when I started seeing more of these women, I realized that they were coming from the same accounts, engagement accounts. If you would like to know more about these types of accounts, and one of the most shameless and relentless ones, I highly suggest you to check out my Kira Won't Miss video. These fraudulent news accounts are nothing more than engagement accounts disguised as news outlets, but they pick and choose what to deliver. It's usually online and streamer content drama, anything that will get them their likes and interactions. But sometimes that's not enough to get their bills paid. So here comes the behind the scenes deals. These accounts will agree to some sort of undisclosed promotion with OF creators. and put out some ridiculous tweet with the same copy-paste title. And well, no matter how crazy it sounds, it somehow works. For example, if you search the following in Twitter, if you see her video, and so many of these cheesy accounts will pop up, they almost never label it as sponsored. There is no hashtag ad, no paid partnership, nothing. These accounts present it as organic trending content, but it's just engineered visibility disguised as buzz. They're not amplifying news, they're selling you a product. The product just happens to be a handful of women posing for the camera. At some point, you got to realize that this is no longer promotion, but just spam at this point. You no longer need effort, talent, or originality. You just need money. Alright, this is the part of the video that was not part of the original script. On February 26th of this year, Joymay uploaded the video, Why I Left the Bop House. She basically goes in detail about how she was mistreated and why she felt like a background dancer, and nobody valued her opinions.
Room, basically, and was forcing me to talk to her about a situation I had already said I don't want to talk about with you. Some people, I've seen a lot of comments being like, oh, you threw a chair, you're so dramatic, you're so dramatic. I did not throw a chair, I threw a book. But I wish I did throw a chair. Maybe I would have shown her, like, don't come in my room and warn her not to come near me. I don't know how much clearer I could have been.
And honestly, after the research I've done over the past week and a half, I can kind of see it. Look, I'm not picking a side or anything. I'm 25 years old and I have no interest in TikTok beef. However, I will say this from right now, judging the fact that Aisha is recording an apology instead of just doing it behind the scenes or whatever, why everything needs to be uploaded to the internet. Basically, all this tells me is that Aisha is a true villain. I know I literally have super villain in my YouTube banner, but this is villain behavior. If you want the full story and all, I highly suggest you to watch Joy's video. And all I can say, Joy, if you somehow watch this, be wary of
トラップでもあると見ておけよ、サスケ。
Aisha.
I am not licking that thing. Get it out of my face.
There used to be a time when the word creator actually meant something. Someone people look forward to seeing every day. Oftentimes, you are at the top of the platform because the content you produce was loved by so many. Now, instead of working for your spot at the top, it's handed to you. Whether it's by a computer formula in the background or by the people themselves. Yes, if you haven't heard already, the Bop House are holding auditions to join their roster. The good news about this is that it simply requires no effort or creativity. You just have to simply have enough followers and engage enough on the platforms. The process is less about scouting talent and more about padding the roster with whoever can bring in more eyeballs. But what if you aren't skilled enough to get inside Bop House? Well, that's why there's a mini Bop House, Asian Bop House, Berry Avenue Bop House, or whatever, which is Roblox based and heavily trafficked by younger audiences. You know what, I just want to know, like, why are minors talking about being bops? That's what I genuinely don't understand. Maybe I'm getting old or whatever, but why is this something to be proud of? It's not just lazy, it's dangerous. It invites the wrong kind of attention and it blurs the lines between adult content creators and underage fans who are watching, engaging, and now being directly encouraged to participate. This concern became painfully obvious when the Bop House collaborated with the 17-year-old YouTuber and TikTok star, Piper Raquel, a creator whose audience is largely made up of children and teens. Raquel appeared in several TikTok videos along Bop House members, many of whom are openly affiliated with subscription-based adult content platforms like OF. The backlash was immediate, and the people rightfully questioned why a minor was brought into the orbit of a group so heavily associated with explicit content. The fact that the Bop House seems no problem in operating in these blurred spaces, recruiting through TikTok comments, collaborating with teenage influencers, is exactly why their recruitment strategy feels so reckless. It's not about building a community, it's not about talent or creativity, it's about keeping the machine running at all costs. What these women are doing is certainly wrong, but only time will tell before they realize that themselves. Even if it means exposing younger audiences to creators whose business model relies on selling sex appeal. When that becomes the standard for how these influencer houses operate, the damage isn't just to their own reputation, it poisons the platform itself. It teaches young creators that success isn't about skill or artistry, it's about how far you're willing to go, how far you're willing to post, and how many boundaries you're willing to cross to stay visible. Anyways, these are just my 2 cents, and one of the billion reasons why I cannot let social media corrupt my future children. In the end, the Bop House is a case study in failure. Not their failure, but the failure of platforms that no longer reward skill, but reward visibility alone. With that being said, thank you all for watching. Please take care. Until we meet again.
本当には俺と違い死ぬ前に気づいてほしい。